By the early 19th century, the U.S. was rapidly growing, both in size and power. Land-hungry and ambitious, the new country was also drastically changing its policies towards the Indian nations. And nowhere was this more evident than in the treaties.
The United States' primary interest in treaty making was to acquire Indian land. And so the treaties were used for that purpose, especially as the United States found itself in a position to pretty much dictate the terms of the treaty. And so the treaties morphed from this friendship and reciprocity sort of relationship into a very one-sided thing.
There's almost a mythology about this, that somehow when the Pilgrims arrived, they were dragging land behind them. There was no land brought here. The land here was Native nations. And this is what the United States needed. It's what it wanted. They wanted all of it. They wanted everything.
The greed came in. Oh, we have a little tract here now we need a little more. And, well, we need to go make another treaty. We didn't understand that eventually those treaty-making processes ended up to the acquisition of all of our ancestral homeland. That land was a part of us. That land helped us be. That land was who we were and who we are.
The command of removal came unexpectedly upon most of us. There was a time that we noticed several overloaded wagons were passing our home, yet we did not grasp the meaning. Then one day, wagons stopped. We were to be taken away and leave our homes, never to return.
To get what they wanted, U.S. officials brokered treaties through any means available. Their tactics were so corrupt that the once trusted treaties became quickly known as bad paper.
There were people at these treaty negotiations who would do anything to get an agreement on the table. And so there was very routine bribery, individual payments made to tribal leaders. Alcohol would be used to put people in an agreeable frame of mind, and even coercion to say to people, you must sign this agreement or else.
Every means of trickery and fraud was employed against Native nations. The United States would appoint a false leadership, people who had no right to speak for the tribe, and say, you're the leader of this tribe, sign this paper giving away all your land.
As the century progressed, the treaties became more and more lopsided, a far cry from the parallel paths of the Goswenta. Despite appeals from the Indian nations, the U.S. kept on its new trajectory, rationalizing its aggressive actions along the way.
They have neither the intelligence, the industry, the moral habits, nor the desire of improvement. The tribes of Indians inhabiting this country were fierce savages. To leave them in possession of their country was to leave the country a wilderness.
It's important in the great American mythology to describe the Americas as wilderness. Because of its wilderness, then there's really nobody to dispossess. It was okay to come here and prosper and conveniently forget that there were already people and civilizations in place.
At first we had something to eat, but that gave out and we were starving. We came to a slippery elm tree and ate the bark of that. Lots took sick and died.
As Americans successfully pushed the bounds of the frontier, they not only believed that they were destined to take over the land and prosper, they believed that God was the one who put them there to do it.
They believed that it was God's will, that the United States should be a continental nation stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific. As each wave of immigration would come, they'd move into an area. The United States would then make some sort of arrangement with the tribe to get that land from them. And then more would come, and they'd advance the frontier even further.
The power of manifest destiny, of expansion, of inevitability, God's providence helped to rally people around not only the idea of Americans as entitled to North America, but rallied them around the idea that Indian people were barriers to civilization and barriers to progress.
No matter how many treaties were signed or how much land they gave to the United States, the Indian was still in the way. This was known as the Indian problem. This so-called problem continued despite a decades-old policy to force Indians to swap their land east of the Mississippi for land west of it. The Indians would then move to those western parts and away from the Americans. This plan was simply called removal.
The Removal Act was
majority of residential schools were run by the Catholic Church, but it's the only one where top officials haven't apologized for its role. And today, experts say some Catholic organizations are obstructing efforts to find unmarked burials and identify children by withholding thousands of historical records.
There is a responsibility that lies squarely on the shoulders of the council officials in Canada.
Some feel it should rest even higher. One of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action, a papal apology.
About America, you definitely don't talk about racism, white supremacy, because that's against God. That's against the scriptures all the way around. You don't talk about any of that. You carry yourself to Haiti. What are you going to do for people in Haiti that you can't do for black folks right here in the United States of America? So let me tell y'all black folks something. Please spread this part what I'm about to tell you. If they're not doing nothing for black folks in America, why are you so special? Why do you think they're going to do something better for you? They come in to be your saviors, but yet they pass up black folks all day long. They come say, oh, I'm going to set up a medical center. I'm going to set up an orphanage. Have y'all realized that's the way you guys stay in turmoil? How they try to come in to colonize you or cause chaos. They bring their Bibles, correct? And then they come with their military. A lot of these people that come in with their Bibles are spies. A lot of them come there to sow discord. A lot of them, how many of them have been caught trafficking children, organ trafficking? And they all come in as Christians, pedos, but they come in as Christian missionaries. It's going to help you. We're just coming to help. No, you're not. They have been doing this method for hundreds and hundreds of years. They come in with their Bibles, they bring their filth, and they bring their military. Maybe a few of them doing the right thing, but I have no trust for any of them based on their track record. Especially coming from this country, talking about Christian, I'ma really look at you funny. Because remember, it was Christians that enslaved my people. So anytime I see that with you, I'm always looking funny at you. They're Christians, but they have no problem with racism, white supremacy. But they're Christians, right? I said this before, they're not capable of being righteous. They're not capable because they don't want to be.
You remember
Why is
the
that?
wait, listen to what I'm saying, sis. Because the 5 civilized tribes enslaved Africans as well.
Are you aware that this is after the tribes were really colonized and a lot of the chiefs were really the offspring of the colonizers at this point?
Let me tell you something, sis.
No, no,
I
no, no,
know
no, no,
I
no, no,
no
no, no, no,
you
no, no,
asked
no.
me I'm
No,
gonna
no,
answer your
Mr. Robert,
question. You can't ask me a question and don't allow me to answer it.
Mr. Robert, we listened to you for about 2 minutes, Google stuff. So when I'm asking you questions now, I just want you to be direct with me.
I am.
Okay. Did you or did you not know that? Yes or no?
Repeat that question again, sis.
You see, if
Because
you
you
just
cut me
if you
yeah,
just
because
listen,
you cut me off as
I
a
won't have to repeat. I keep have to repeat every question I give you. I repeat it one last time. Did you or did you not know that civilized means colonized? All right. And that once these tribes were colonized, a lot of the children that were running these tribes were the children of the colonizers. These are the people that became your chiefs and etc. Are you aware that the original indigenous people are not the ones who enslaved the Africans, but these are the colonizers and their children who are now taking over the civilized tribes?
internet, we moving to the library. Find a drop on how to stop familiar adversaries. Choosing up, drop a die like it's honorary. Cop shot my homeboy like it was customary. Trying to shield a child and yelled he had an open carry. He was carried off by 6 last February. Fuck Corona, man, we sicker than the coronary. American 1828 dictionary. And I said unto her, thou shalt sit solitary for me many days. Thou shalt not play the harlot. Thou shalt not be any man's wife, nor will I be thine. For the children of Israel will return, see Kawa and Kandawi, and shall come trembling unto Hawaii and his goodness in the end of land. Like that, and you know it's like that. We gon' keep our code and we gon' take our land back. We gon' keep our code and we gon' take our land back. We gon' keep our code and we gon' take our land back. Like that, and you know it's like that. We gon' keep our code and we gon' take our land back. We gon' keep our code and we gon' take our land back. We gon' keep our code and we gon' take our land back like that.